and welcome everyone to what should have been out a couple of weeks ago, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it's the Star Wars Visions Spoilercast. And as always, I'm Mitch. You can follow me on Twitter, Mitch692. And for a slight change of pace, Sean is not with us this week. He will be with us in the next video. But I'm joined by Jared from the Nerd Academy podcast.
Hey guys, I not that I necessarily feel underqualified to talk comic book stuff. Obviously, I do an entire podcast about that kind of thing. Next to you guys, though, I definitely feel outclassed. But we're talking Star Wars. We're in like my true home territory.
See, I feel like this is a nice middle ground because I don't know if you're an anime guy or not.
I am. And that's the other thing is that like next to some of my friends and other Nerd Academy people, like I'm a chump, you know, like
you're not a full blown weeb, you're just a filthy casual.
I think somewhere between filthy casual and like full blown weeb, because there's stuff that I'm super into and super all about. I just don't have like a wide birth of anime that I've watched. You know, like I super into My Hero. I love Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta is the best character, and if you disagree, you can kiss my ass. Assassination Classroom, Death Note. Like there's a good bit of stuff that I've seen and really liked, and what I haven't seen yet, I probably will like when I get around to it.
Neon Genesis and Cowboy Bebop. That's my recommendations.
I keep meaning to get around to sitting down and watching all the Bebop. That was one of those, like, I sat down, I watched the first episode with Levi, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I need to find time to watch this.
Bebop's fantastic. I'm terrified for that Netflix show.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrified.
Yeah. I don't blame you, but you know what? They chose to have they chose for that whole show to not be all white people, so we're off to a great start.
I'd say they've done something right. I appreciated the intro to an extent, though I don't appreciate the lack of Ed. I need Ed. Where is she? But that's not this. This is Star Wars Visions. And this is something I feel like has been needed for Star Wars for a long time. I feel like Star Wars, obviously, they're heavily influenced by Japan and like Kurosawa's, like Akira stories and all that sort of stuff. And it's finally with us. And it's, what is it? It's 9 episodes with 7 studios. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
That sounds correct.
Oh, we got 1, 2, 3. It is 7 because 2 do 2 twice, I think.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 studios. 7 studios. Which 2 of them are Trigger, and Studio Trigger is like one of my favorites right now. You go Kill a Kill. You can't go wrong with a bit of that. You cannot go wrong. But right, I think we should spend a little bit of time on each one.
Okay.
Going down the list. But before that, actually, let's save that till afterwards because it'll make more sense. Let's start with The Duel by Kamikaze Doga. I think that's how you pronounce it. The Duel. What did you make of this episode?
I think it is, you know, I think in terms of placement, the duel could not have happened anywhere except being the front episode. I love the vibe that it goes with. Just as like a stylistic thing, Star Wars in black and white where the only color is a lightsaber blade is just a cool look. I think the interesting thing with Visions is that there's basically 2 flavors of these episodes, where it's an anime inspired by Star Wars, or it is Star Wars in anime. And I think opening with an anime inspired by Star Wars was the correct kind of shock to the system you should get when starting Visions. I think starting this big, this out there was the best choice they could have made. I think the Duel is in my top 3 of Visions. I absolutely loved it. As somebody that, when it comes to Star Wars, my main love is the Jedi, the Sith, and the philosophy and martial arts and all of that within, the Force wielding sects of Star Wars. So having like an anime sword fight be the crux of the first episode of the Star Wars anime anthology was a win for me. Ronan, the main character of it, is really fascinating. To steal a term I saw used by Geeky Waffle on Twitter not too long ago, the term anti-villain.
Ooh.
And I kind of like the idea that Ronan is just this anti-villain dark Jedi, hunting this Sith hunter who, and we talked about this on the episode we did at Knights of the Nerd Republic, that, the whole taking lightsabers as trophies thing is cool and it's badass. There is something so much more brutal and metal about taking
the
crystals.
Mm.
Like, because, and it is how I explained it when we were talking about it was, as the viewer, we have like the fan reaction to seeing somebody's lightsaber hilt. Like if somebody holds up the Skywalker saber, you will immediately go, "Oh, that is the lightsaber that Anakin, Luke, and Rey all used," right?
Mm.
And even though we, as the fans, have a reaction to like the hilt, the thing that truly bonds its wielder, the bonds wielder and sword, is the kyber crystal, and the idea that you're taking a part of that person's presence in the Force as the prize post kill, that's really dark. And like, it's one of those, like, I don't think at face value, not wanting to use the term normie or casual as a pejorative, obviously, but like somebody who like that isn't going to be their knee-jerk reaction to this kind of thing, to like think about it that deeply. When you have it brought to your attention where it's like, this is like the part of the lightsaber that actually matters, that's really like there's
I'm
just
gonna be
something
honest
so
here. I
brutal.
didn't look at it like that. But now that you mention it, it's just like, actually, no, yeah. I'm in full agreement on that one.
It's so cool. Like, it's just like, again, taking somebody's lightsaber as a prize is one thing. Taking their kyber crystal is like a level of bad mamma jamma that like you don't see, that like I've not seen in Star Wars before. Then there's also his little bit about like, it wards off evil spirits, which whether or not he actually believes that or he's just saying that to the kid is, you decide.
I took it as he's just saying that to the kid. But then why would he give it to him if that was just the case? Unless it's purely like, he's saying that, but it's like, you figure out how to make a saber from this. Like, learn to protect yourself, sort of situation.
Yeah, like it wards off evil spirits when you put it in a lightsaber hilt and stab the evil spirits with it. Right?
It's like, look, you have half of her saber still here. The umbrella's intact. Use it. Find a way. Figure it out. Because I want to see that again. It was not in this episode enough.
It's like walking into the woods with a loaded gun and going, "This is bear repellent."
There's a shit in the woods. Well, it is now.
Yeah, like what do you mean it's bear repellent? This will repel a bear. It's like, you're not technically wrong.
It's just it'll repel itself from its body.
Yeah. But I haven't personally read Ronin yet, but I have seen some of the cooler lore nuggets because there's like a tie-in novel that's since come out.
Oh, is
Those,
there?
yeah, it's called Star Wars Ronin, and it's like ties in with the duel and
Oh,
that specific
nice.
character. And one of the neat things, just lore wise, like with the umbrella and with his scabbard, is that they're like, so that umbrella that the lead bandit Sith lady is using, there's not like 7 different kyber crystals inside of that thing. There's just some like cool, fun, not necessarily canon, but who knows if they could try to fold it into the canon somehow. Like that device just like
It like refracts whatever's coming out the crystal.
basically, yeah. So like she puts her lightsaber into it, and then boom, you have like the giant 7-bladed spinning
Mm.
death machine.
See
And the same
that?
thing with Ronin's uh lightsaber is that his is I don't know if it's the crystal or his sword itself that's damaged. But the scabbard is designed to basically contain the energy, but also like her umbrella has a switch on it that he can activate the scabbard as a lightsaber as well.
Oh, so that's how that works. Okay. So I
Yeah.
had a question about how, or at the time of watching it, I was like, hang on, I'm not entirely sure how his stuff works, but I was kind of like, you're not meant to know everything from this episode, but that makes a lot of sense. Because they
Yeah.
kind of they just throw that at you. It's like, oh, cool, he has this one, and then all of a sudden there's a second one. It's like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah. Yeah,
Even though
no, the
like
scabbard itself is a lightsaber as well.
that makes a ton of sense. But I always had to find it funny. I never question the umbrella. I always question his scabbard. But I think I never question the umbrella because it's like, well, if Kylo can have the two like exhaust ports either side, what's to say you
Yeah.
can't have 7 different prongs in an umbrella? Like, we've seen it before, kind of. It's just a further extension of that. But no, the
Yeah.
scabbard bit was cool. Even though he
Oh,
carries
yeah.
around a normal sword by the look of it anyway. It's just kind of like, what's that about?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
like
no, I
having
think
like
it's,
just random questions like that from this sort of an episode.
and it works with the sound design as well because for I mean in a lot of the red lightsabers, and again like this is just kind of like the not nitpicky in a bad way, just like hair splitting stuff that I catch myself doing, especially being a lightsaber person, and someone who's like really into lightsabers. The a lot of the sound design for any red lightsaber in Visions was a lot of Kylo Ren stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was.
and,
Mm.
and a lot of that's just because like it sounds menacing and cool. But I
Mm.
really liked hearing it on Ronan in the duel, because his like Kylo Ren's lightsaber is busted. So
Yeah,
having that like the like like noise where it's like this thing could explode. Like I could just blow
so
myself to
it
hell
it
with it.
sounds like a busted exhaust.
Yeah.
I no, I appreciate that. But that's I think that's just at the level of detail I kind of expected from all this. Like obviously Lucasfilm were kind of like, hey, here's everything you need to know, just do what you want with it. And they're
Yeah.
like, hey, cool, we've got this noise, we're gonna make this thing from it. That's a nice little level of consistency. But what I appreciate actually in the fight is they don't go overboard. It's not like a prequel, like how people like already say how I imagine like anime Star Wars would have gone years ago. It's like you don't have like people flipping all over the place, and like she literally just pulls the log to split the waterfall slightly, and it's only a little bit. It's not like I'm just gonna jam this thing in here to stop the entire thing. It's like no, just subtly place the log. Stuff like that
Yeah.
I appreciate in this episode. But you
I
mentioned
like that a
earlier,
lot.
what are you going to say, sorry?
No, I just like that a lot, and the fact that the choreography wasn't too over the top. It was just like a right good amount.
Hmm. Also, Lucy Liu, I thought did a good job.
Yes, very much so.
I will say for 95% of the voice acting is for the English dub is decent. The next episode has my only one major problem.
This episode has my least favorite line of dialogue in the whole thing.
What, a Tatooine Rhapsody one?
No, the duel. I
Oh,
just
really?
the like your lightsaber blade is red. It just was so. It was one of those lines that just sounded very.
That's
Kid
very
playing with their
anime.
action figures.
Yeah,
Like
that's very anime, like explaining everything.
It was one of those like we can rephrase this. There can be another way without the like just saying it so like oh that sound like it was bad. I didn't like that line at all. I cringed really hard when I heard it. And but now it's like a whole TikTok trend of people doing cool lightsaber stuff to like that line of dialogue while like Lil Nas X's Industry Baby plays in the background. It's like man, these videos are cool. And hey, that person turned on a red lightsaber while the lady said the really bad line, but it's still a really bad line. It's still abysmally phrased. Like you could have been any version of a red lightsaber blade, or like red, like just saying red in a confused tone, but like your lightsaber blade is red. Do it again, do it again, do it again.
See, that's the anime cheese that I live for. It's
I
like,
love,
yes,
I
it's
like anime
horrendous.
cheese, but the phrasing is just so, it's just so clunky and again, like very like kid playing with their action figures.
But speaking of anime cheese, and you mentioned earlier about placement and how this one kind of needs to be first, I feel like Tatooine Rhapsody had to be second. Mainly because, and I say mainly purely because it serves as like the intro, like the typical anime intro for an episode, but for the whole show. We had that little bit at the start, you get a little taste of the episode, you have an intro, then you get on with the rest of it. This to me felt like the equivalent of that for the all 9 episodes.
Yeah, that's fair.
And despite Joseph Gordon-Levitt's singing, and who allowed him to sing, I do not know. Please never let him do that again, because, or if you do let him do it again, get a better song, because the translation didn't work. This is an episode that strongly benefits from being subbed and being in the original. It works 100 times better than the actual English dub.
Yeah, song was kind of whack.
Works in Japanese though.
I only watched the dub. I only watched the dub versions of everything.
I highly recommend going back and watching the subs.
I'm
it
going
changes
to
a
at
lot
some
of it.
point. I'm
It
going to
really
at some
makes it.
point. Yeah, Tatooine Rhapsody. Like, here's what I'll say about Tatooine Rhapsody and the duel being back to back with each other. Aside from like the tonal whiplash you get,
Yeah.
I really like it because again, like it's the two. It is the two types of episode you get. You either get an anime inspired by Star Wars that has Star Warsy stuff in it, or it's an anime that takes place in Star Wars. The duel,
Yeah.
you know, like okay, there's a lightsaber duel and there's droids and stuff, but also like there's a straight up poster for Star Wars on the wall in the duel, you know. So like there's like they're not trying. So like the duel is not trying to feel like it could naturally be a part of the canon. Not that it has to, you know, not that that's necessarily a bad thing. But the duel does not try to feel like it is like Star Wars, Star Wars. Tatooine Rhapsody feels like a plain old Star Wars story that happens to be an anime.
Yeah.
And like you get both flavors of what Visions has to offer of like those two like main archetypes of episodes right back to back. But for me, like I don't have a lot to say about Tatooine Rhapsody. You know, like it's there. I got to hear Tamora Morrison's beautiful voice.
See, I was under one impression until he came along about this entire episode, and then he comes along, and I'm like, wait, how old is everyone here? Because to me, they're kids. and they're supposed to be kids. But when you get Boba Fett coming in here talking like adult Boba Fett, I'm just like, are they not kids? And obviously that completely falls down to the art style, but they're drawn like kids. And it's a
Yeah.
very, like the whole Order 66 thing. It's like, well, pure assumption that he's a youngling and all this, and then going forward, like just the start of the episode in general, and it's just like, no, you're kids, but then Boba Fett sounds like a 40-year-old, and it's like, what's going on? But yeah, I enjoyed it in dubbed, but I enjoyed it far more in subbed. It works a lot better. And I think it's purely down to the translation than the actual words being what they're supposed to be. Not kind of like being loosely based, because you do a 1-for-1 translation of Japanese songs to English and they don't make a lick of sense. It's just like some of the words from some of the intros are like, who wrote that? Like that's not, that means nothing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was what was it, Studio Colorado or Colorado? But it was, is it one of my favorites? No, not at all. It's probably, actually, would I
It's
put it?
number 9 for me.
I think I might have to agree. Yeah, yeah. Though I appreciate it purely for the fact that it just serves as an intro to the series, pretending to be in it like one massive episode. So
Yeah.
right, moving on to the one that I watched first because I was desperate to see this one. It is the Twins by Trigger. This was the one that sold me on this entire series, just from the trailers. The second they said Trigger's part of it, I'm like, I'm here. I'm done. This is all you need. So I've watched this one about 8 times. I can't get enough of it.
I enjoyed the Twins. It was a little weird at first. I was like, this is an interesting take. And I was like not completely sold on it. But I saw Adam Lance Garcia on Twitter say, and I thought this is a really interesting interpretation, that the Twins feels like a, the Twins feels like the Skywalker saga having been mythologized and passed down for hundreds and thousands of years, because like there's so much in the Twins that is like so much of the Skywalker saga distilled into
Yeah,
one story.
yeah,
Like you have the, one member of the family's fallen to the dark side, the other one is firmly in the light, one trying to bring the other one home. You have the twins
yeah.
archetype there from Luke and Leia. You have the like visual cues that are reminiscent of Rey and Ben Solo. Um, the Holdo maneuver is in there in a way, a version of it. There's a lot of stuff that feels like you just kind of put all of Star Wars in a blender
No,
and
I
you poured it out, and it's the
100%.
twins. And I think that's an interesting interpretation. That I really liked that version of it. The kid ends up on Tatooine, and like he's on Tatooine, but the way that the X-wing is like sitting nose up, it looks like Jakku.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, yeah.
Like
Point.
there's a lot of it that's like this is like a double meaning for like he can be both Luke and Rey all at once.
And I think that was the aim for these characters. They can
Yeah.
be either one of them. They can be either one or neither of them. They can be
Yeah.
their own or something else.
So
But
I think that was interesting.
this is 100% like Trigger at its finest. Like if anyone's ever watched Kill la Kill, you know exactly what to expect. It's exaggerated, it's hyper, it's got some of the most insane like energy in the animation style. Like just the movements alone, and it's that just pushing it slightly too far that I love with anime. It's the same with like
Yeah.
comics and all that sort of stuff. Like if you just go that little bit crazy with it, just go a little bit weird. Like the whole what is it? Like the gradient lightsaber. Like give me more of that. I need that in actual Star Wars. Maybe not that big, but just that sort of an idea. Just give me more of that. Go maybe, and also not necessarily like the General Grievous armor that she has. I can't remember her name. Oh, is it Anne or Ann? The other twin.
I can't remember the
Who's
names.
who plays her? I can't remember her name either. I can never remember the actress's name. I know she's in Community. Going out with is it David Franco?
I'm not
God.
sure. I forgot like so much of the cast and character names between watching this a couple weeks ago and now.
I say I really Alison Brie. I don't know how. I always forget Alison Brie's name. Like she was probably the weakest part of the voice cast for me. But like that
Yeah.
whole armor she has with like the weird like the high heel lightsabers. Like yeah, we don't need stuff like that. But like a gradient lightsaber, give me more of that and give me a reason why it exists. But it's just the colors, like how kinetic everything is.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. It's really interesting. You know, the action with the guy twin, you know, like vaulting around the Star Destroyer. It is just really beautiful and really cool and just weird, super friggin' weird.
Though
In the
I
best
do find it
way.
funny. This is the only episode that I'm aware of where they're like, "Oh yeah, it takes place after episode 9," but it's the one. It's the one episode for me off the top of my head that I couldn't see being in canon.
So
Like everything
I'm
else,
gonna
like
Google this to see make sure I'm correct. From what I understand, the one that is meant to take place after episode 9 is the Ninth Jedi.
oh, see, I thought I said it was about the twins.
Here, let's find out together.
I could be totally wrong on that one. But my understanding was the twins takes place after it,
That's what I
or
thought
was
too.
supposed to be. Because I know they said that nothing has to be canon. They're not constrained by anything. It can be in there. It can be not. Like
Absolutely can be both of them as well, but
because one of those where it's like I can see it with the way that the sequel trilogies went. I can see it kind of. You could maybe get it in there and make it make sense, but I think everything else should have an easier time because everything else
yeah.
is a lot more grounded. And of course, in typical Trigger fashion, they're just like, yeah, no, we're not doing grounded. We're going out there.
The twins is does take place after episode 9.
I'll say 2 of them did that. What about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, Connor was whenever we did it on Knights of the Nerd Republic was saying that Ninth Jedi took place after 9. I was like, this feels Old Republic-y. So now
Yeah,
I feel
no.
vindicated. I knew it was the twins.
Well, there you go then. There you go. But no, the twins is easily, I think, my favorite, or at least top 3, easily. And it's purely half of it because the studio it's a massive bias, and I'm not afraid to admit that. So anyone else been like, oh, you're dumb? Like, no, it's mine. But moving on to one that I think a lot of people weren't big on is The Village Bride by
Oh, we are
Kiva
following different
Citrus.
people on the internet because I have not. People are still talking about the Village Bride on my social media
I
feeds.
say I saw it and I loved it, but I've seen like, it's not. Like, I don't see a ton of reactions to things because I don't follow a lot of people like that. But people just go like, yeah, The Village Bride's all right. It's all right. It's towards the bottom. I'm just like, what is going on? It's like one of the best. It's probably the most Studio Ghibli one, bar TOB one, actually, and maybe Akari. It's at least one of the 3 more Studio Ghibli ones. But
I really enjoyed this one a lot. It's cool as hell. Like I love the archetype of the hero kind of putting their hero pants back on. So seeing the Masked Jedi have her moment of, of claiming her role as Jedi was just super cool. The lightsaber design itself was neat as hell.
see, I loved how it just like set like the hilt just separates and you have that little glow. Oh,
Yeah, that's really sick.
But no, this was. I just still stunned that people that I've seen
Yeah,
people say it's in the lower half. It's just like, wow.
uh,
And the whole
yeah, that
connection to the planet and all that they go into detail on. It's just, just give me more of it, please.
um, I with the Village Bride, it was just. This is one of the ones like this is so easily capable to be folded into canon. And again, like that's not necessarily to say that like everything has to be canon for it to matter or anything like that. That's stupid. But it's one of those moments where it's like I want to see it in canon. I want like I want to see this Jedi like do stuff in the canon, like it's just it's so cool. I love the whole idea of some like warlord douchebag, like you going, oh hey, that's a lot of B1 battle droids. Be a shame if somebody stole them and reprogrammed them to be my personal army.
Also,
Like I think that was really neat too.
So the guy she was with the helmet, I like. Have we seen anything like that before in the canon?
No,
The weird
not that
like
I'm aware
bucket
of.
thing. So that's such a cool idea. Like his little, his little distraction helmet. It's like, yeah, my head's up here, but I'm actually down here. I really like that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything like that off the top of my head. Also, unrelated, the Batman Lego sets are already starting to make their way onto the internet.
Well, as in the Pattinson ones.
Yep.
That's early. Man.
Yeah, they're already here. I just I was like I was jumping back and forth between a tab I have open with Disney Plus and accidentally clicked like the open Twitter tab and I was like, is that in the Batman Lego set? That's a bit like would you just like it's a bit early for that.
Right. Moving on to one that I loved is the Ninth Jedi by Production IG.
This is my favorite.
I say this one I've seen a lot of people say is their top one, and I can't fault people for it. It's easily one of the ones I want to see continue. Like, give me like a mini series of this, like a 12 episode. Just go from
I
there.
would like that a lot.
Though it ends really cheesily, with the camera spinning around and where they were is the lightsaber. It's just like, oh, okay. To me, then again, the twins ended cheesily with the "she's alive, she's my twin sister." It's just like, oh, okay, Neil Patrick Harris. Okay, you phoned that one in slightly, but
I love so again like lightsabers are my jam. So the whole episode being about lightsabers was like gonna win me over. So for me, I really like the current canon way lightsabers work. That the crystal chooses the user and upon meditation takes on a color.
yeah.
And that the lightsaber color or the kyber crystal, its color will not change except for the circumstances of it being bled and turned red. And I've never been super into the whole the lightsaber color will change depending on who's holding it. Like, I've never been into that, really. However, the way it is done here and doing the whole, oh yeah, it's like the color will change depending on its wielder, and how that is used for this big twist reveal, friggin' genius. Like, that was so cool. And I was so not in, like, I was like, that was so keeping me from getting super into it. Where I was like, this is interesting what they're doing. I don't know how I feel about it. And at first, the little girl, I was like, okay, you're weird, like, like dark, like mostly
I say
translucent lightsaber looks
uh,
neat.
I adored what they did with hers. Where it's like, oh, she's got a connection. It's not great. She can she can use it, but there's no color to it. It's just like blank. I loved that. Just the visual of it alone. It's like I need to see that in light. Oh, it's kind of dark sabery looking at it, and I wonder if that
Yeah.
could possibly be a way to tie that in if they ever wanted to. But I don't. I just love making anything different from what's been established for decades. I'm all here for it, and I thought it looked fantastic. So it wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, she is not a strong connection. Let's just make it white or something like that. It's like, no, we're gonna make it look a bit mucky and a bit rough. It's not fully there, but
And
it's
the
still
moment that she like finds herself in the Force
there.
fighting off those, Sith or Dark Jedi or whatever, and that that brilliant green starts to emerge from it. It was just so cool. And it also kind of goes back to like an older like idea with the whole lightsaber will change depending on who's holding it thing, where in the original comic book adaptation of Return of the Jedi, the scene where Vader's holding Luke's new lightsaber, it turns red while Vader's holding it.
Yeah.
So, there's a precedent for that kind of thing, but it's never been something I've ever been super into. But my God, was this cool! Like, it
I
was so
think
cool.
it makes an interesting visual.
It makes for an interesting visual, and in my opinion, I think this is the best fight choreography in Visions.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I don't know about that one. I can't disagree. To be honest,
Like,
that's me
this
with a
was the
lot of this.
best.
It's like I can disagree, but I can't agree at the same time. I mean that sort of boat. It's just like, yeah, it's just really good.
Yeah, like this was my favorite of the dueling that we get. Also, I so badly want, I can't remember his name now, but the guy who was hiding inside of the droid, so badly want to cosplay him.
That was such a good reveal as well.
Yeah, that was sick too. Oh,
I
so
just really like the episode. It's so,
yeah,
the whole
it's great. Like, it is so, it's so good. Again, this is another one that, like, aside from the weird stuff with the lightsabers, absolutely can be like folded into the canon somehow.
Yeah, I think my only thing I was disappointed with the whole lightsabers and changing color was the fact that they just kind of lent on her being green. I think especially after the Village Bride, where you have that yellow, and it obviously there's yellow lightsabers, but you don't see it very often in like the actual stuff that's been put out. Like, you might get it in comics a lot, but you got a quick flash of it at the end of Rise of Skywalker. That's about it for the movies and all that. But like just seeing a different color and then like just to fall back on green, it's like, okay. Like it looks cool, and the way they did it looks great. It's green. Everyone loves green lightsabers. Like it's like the Green Ranger. Somehow green just attracts people. But
All right, listen, as somebody who vastly prefers blue, purple, and red
oh really?
in terms of their lightsabers, don't you be talking smack on the Green
Oh,
Ranger when I'm around.
I mean,
Don't you?
I ain't talking smack
I'm
on no.
not
No,
accepting
I
any
ain't
Tommy
talking.
Oliver slander right
I'm
now.
not slandering no one. It's fine. I'm just saying, green has a certain appeal with people, and I love green. Was Tommy the best when I was 5 years old? You're damn right he was. He had a shield. He was green. He was gold. He had a dagger. He had a dragon. That was also green in some places. Like, what's not to love? But
I have the episode
lightsabers.
pulled up in front of me, and I believe it's a case with the Village Bride as well. I really like this whole like the weird like glowing circle thing around the lightsabers as well. Um,
I say I can't remember the hilt on hers on the scales.
God, this is so cool. This is so cool.
Also,
I'm like
the
getting
fight
distracted
on
as I'm rewatching the episode.
like the fight on this on the bike is fantastic in this episode. Where she's running away and then she's like on a
Yeah,
little like ice lake and she does the whole thing. Like it's
the Margrave. That's the name of the guy. That's what I
that's
was
the
trying to
one.
find.
No, it's just
Juro the Margrave.
absolutely. This is one I want to see a continuation of. In fact, the Village Bride and the Night Jedi. I think if I really had to pick two, as much as it pains me to not say the twins, the Village Bride and the Night Jedi, hands down, easily. But moving on to one that I thought might have been a bit more controversial than it was, or people might have written it off. TOB1 by Science Saru.
This is another one where it's like there's nothing here that I dislike in Visions. There is not an episode here that I am like I did not like that.
Yeah,
There are some that I just liked less than others, and
was Toby
Tob
one of them?
one is one that I was like
Oh,
not hella into.
oh.
I liked it. I thought it was really cute. I liked the fight with the Inquisitor at the end. Um, and it was good. It was good. I just wasn't like blown away by it.
I say this is one where if I looked at it just randomly, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to enjoy that one. And then, but that's based purely by how it looks. And I do that for everything and I hate it. It's just like, I don't like the look of that. Then I watch it and I adore it. But this was such it's Astro Boy in Star Wars. Essentially. It's Mega
Yeah,
Man. I adored it. I'm not even a big Mega Man or Astro Boy guy. I adored it. Even though I did find the little I can't remember the name of the droid that
yeah.
attaches to him, becomes a little jetpack. Like that bit would kind of didn't fit everything else, but I get why, obviously, the Mega Man aspect of all of it. But oh no, I adored this episode. It was just charming, top to bottom. Also, again, very Ghibli like, and it's nice
Yeah.
to. It was a different path for a Jedi to take. At least that I've seen, not as someone that doesn't like eat, sleep, and breathe Star Wars and doesn't read everything about it, doesn't know everything about it. Like just having this, and just the fact that it's a droid being a Jedi. I want to say we've seen it before, at least like in the prequels, in the background. I want to say there was a droid Jedi, but I can't remember.
There is not so in Legends there was Skippy the Droid Jedi,
Hmm.
which was R5 that we see in A New Hope, who is basically force sensitive somehow,
Hmm.
and that's the droid that blows himself up so that the Jawas will sell the Lars family, R2 and
Okay.
3PO together. I mean, technically, I don't know if it's canon or not. That new the Star Wars version of Overwatch that's coming to the Switch this
Oh
year,
yeah,
Star Wars Hunters.
yeah.
That one also has a droid Jedi where it's like JED3.
Oh.
Um,
Oh.
but it's a droid in a Jedi
Yeah.
tunic with a lightsaber that is convinced that it's a Jedi. And I just really like the idea that like it keeps being this droid is convinced that it's a Jedi.
It's one of those things where it kind of the Force goes through all living things and all that, and it's like, is a droid a living thing? If it goes through everything, is a droid a living thing?
Listen, if I'm gonna answer your question, we're gonna have to talk about midichlorians, and I don't think.
Oh, okay, we're gonna move on from that. But I we don't acknowledge midichlorians in this house, unfortunately. But I liked the no, all he wanted to do is just carry on this guy's legacy. He's like, I'm just gonna go around saving planets. That's his Jedi way.
Yeah.
He's not about, obviously he can fight, but he's not about that I'm gonna go around and take down the Sith. He's like, no, I'm just gonna restore planets.
Yeah.
Or even not restore, I'm just gonna terraform everything. I like that. I appreciate that. But I think overall though, probably somewhere in the middle. And I think that's because there's a ton of other good episodes.
Lexi came from my throat when I said this on our Visions review, but TOB1 is just above Tatooine Rhapsody for me.
Yeah, you're an absolute monster.
Like I said, like I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't my favorite. I liked all of these. Like it's like for something like this, it's hard because like I'm great. Like for me,
it is very hard. Yeah.
With Visions, like everything is on a gradient from I liked it to I loved it. There's not a single one of these that I like ardently disliked.
So is his name Toby? Is it TOB1 or is it Toby1?
I think Toby was the Jedi that's consciousness was put in TOB1. Is how that is supposed to be perceived.
Fair play. No, I'd like to see a bit more of TOB1, just to know how a droid, like what makes him able to do everything. Is it because he does have a Jedi's consciousness in there, or is it just like, was it the Kyber crystal that's done something? Because obviously that's what was powering him, clearly. But
there's a lot of interesting implications to be taken from it, depending on how deeply you want to go into it.
But moving on to Trigger's second episode in this, which I loved, is The Elder.
So
that wasn't a good sigh. I don't like that sigh.
No, that was just a. Oh, this is so good. Okay. First of all, I'm so glad we got Aizawa from My Hero Academia as a Jedi. Because it's literally the same character.
Yeah.
Only Eraserhead is a Jedi Master here. Also, I said on the review we did on Knights, and I'm going to say it again here. This one, when talking about like, oh, this is when like this feels like it takes place, other than the ones that are very clear when it would take place in theory, where you're seeing stormtroopers, one can assume,
it's a bit of a giveaway.
Stormtroopers and Imperial Star Destroyers. This one very much felt like it could take place during the High Republic.
Yeah.
Part of it is because of the Padawan's robes. Just kind of had that like goldish look to it. This was so cool. I loved it so much. I love the vibe between Master and Apprentice here. Like this is another one. The lightsaber choreography was bitchin'. The Elder is so good. It's
just the Elder alone. Like this is definitely the other end of the Trigger spectrum. Like with Trigger, you get the twins or you get the Elder, and they're both great. But I just love the look of the Elder, just the way he moved. Like it was something I don't know if it was an intentional exaggeration of proportions with his arms, or if that's just like the species he is. Bit like a Sebulba situation where one's longer than the other, but it just added to the creepy factor of him. And the way he
Yeah,
moved.
no, I really liked that look for the Elder. Uh, I also really enjoyed the weaponry for him, like the two like lightsaber knives. Um, Basically, like that was super cool. I like the idea with the Elder that he was no longer a Sith Lord, but still a Darksider. Um, because like he's criticizing the Sith, and it felt
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he was like, I've grown beyond it. I also, when we talked about this on the KNR one, um, the idea that perhaps, and like this was just me, riffing on it. I kind of like the idea, and this kind of became my head canon, that like he is the rule of two, like this is rule of two era, and how the rule of two worked is, you, as Darth Bane said, you have a master to embody the power and an apprentice to crave it, and you would know the apprentice was ready to graduate from being an apprentice when they killed their master. And I kind of like the idea that this one crazy rule of two Sith looked at his apprentice and said, hey, you're ready, but don't worry about killing me. I want to go out fighting a Jedi.
Yeah, yeah,
And that
yeah.
he was like, you can find your new apprentice now. I'm going to peace out, and I want a Jedi to be the one. Like, he's like, I want to go out fighting Jedi.
But I like the idea, and it's how I took from it actually, that it's just a complete rejection of the Sith. It's like, no, like
That as well. Yeah.
he's killed the master. He doesn't want to share the power, and he's like, no, I'm just gonna go about my life now, just trying to get stronger, without having an apprentice, because the apprentice is eventually gonna kill me, because that's how we work and operate. He said, no, I'm just
Yep.
gonna completely reject that. That's what I took from it initially, but I like yours
Yeah.
as well.
And then that was the thing, is that like I'm somewhere between the I want to go out fighting a Jedi, or as you said, they kind of walked away from the Sith, recognizing
I suppose at
we're
the
all
end of the
here to
day, you
kill
can
each
say,
other. None
you
of
can
us
say,
can agree.
yeah. I was gonna say you can say that it's both, because
Yeah.
in a way it kind of is. Like
Yeah.
rejecting it is being like, yeah, no, I want a Jedi to do it. It's like, nah, I suppose at the end of the day, that's you could take it both ways.
Yeah.
You can have your cake and eat it too. No, I like the dynamic between it, and just how the whole episode is just this one little fight. And it's like, what is this thing? Oh, I guess we'll never know now. 'Cause he blew his ship up. Oh well, rip.
Yeah. It's so good. It's just so good.
And so
I,
it's got one of the best animations in the entire show as well. Like just the look of it and the feel of it, it looks
yeah,
fantastic.
I agree with you.
But to move on to, I think what might be my number two, I think, is Lupin Oko or Ocho by the Gino Studio. I adored the hell out of this episode.
Lop and Ocho is really
That's it,
good.
Ocho, yeah, yeah. It's
Also, just because I'm like flipping through the episodes as we talk about them, um, how quickly the Elder is able to defeat Dan, like jumping back to the Elder real quick, and like he just lunges in, and it's just takes a single strike, he parries it, and gets like the little cross cut.
mm,
Man, the
it
Elder
is
is
it
a
is so good.
menace.
It is
It's
it's
so
fantastic.
good. My God.
Why did he have to crumble away? I want to see more.
Um, but no, I think La Pinocho is really cool. Um, I really liked the use of what looked like the same type of spears and stuff that the Praetorian Guard used in The Last Jedi, being used by Ocho.
Oh, what, like the nunchucks she had and all that? Not nunchucks, but that sort of.
She had like a giant knife spear.
Mm. So, because the dad had like a weird kyber crystal side, didn't he?
Something like that, yeah.
And so I've personally never seen that in Star Wars, but I really like that idea. Like just usual weapons we see every day, but with a kyber crystal in the middle of it. Like,
Yeah.
where's that? Give me more of that. I really want it. But this, I adored this episode. It was very, very Star Warsy, like about what's family mean and all that.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like a bit like a Rise of Skywalker situation, but done better. For me.
That bar's low to do it better. There's stuff in that movie I like a lot, and then there's other parts of that movie that certainly exist.
Yeah.
As I've started saying a lot on podcasts lately, The Rise of Skywalker is a Star Wars movie that certainly did make decisions.
It is a movie that was made.
The Rise of Skywalker is one of the Star Wars movies of all time.
Yes.
No, I really like this one. It like a lot of it's cute, a lot of it's really brutal and depressing. Incredible fight choreography. One of my favorite parts is how Lop is doing her best to like bring Acho home and then freaking executes her.
Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna save you no matter what. Slice. It's like, oh okay.
And then nearly cuts this woman in half, and it's only saved by the like Raider class Star Destroyer, just waiting for somebody to fall off the ledge, I guess.
I love that trope because I always want to see it from a different angle. Just like, what does that look like just floating there?
Oh my god! But with that scene, I remember watching it, and I was just going, "This fight is really cool. You get her, Lop. You bring her. Oh my god!
It's like, you just murdered that girl.
You slaughtered her."
Yeah, the bunny don't take no prisoners.
No, I mean, good thing for Ocho. Again, she got up and somehow survived that lightsaber and giant, like, kyber knife wound. But so good for her, I guess. But Jesus Christ. But no, this was really cool, and I liked seeing one of the things that Disney Star Wars has done a lot of is seeing the little ways that the people of the galaxy resisted the Empire and the First Order, and not it only being the Rebel Alliance, like capital R, capital A, but like the ways that the people rebelled against the Empire, that I think was really cool.
Definitely. Also, she takes her dad's eye out. I'm just like, she went dark real quick. That was no need for that. That was just mean.
Yeah, that was definitely a situation of somebody who wanted to do violence and was given an excuse.
Oh yeah. She drank the Kool-Aid easily. Then again, you drink the Kool-Aid, apparently you bite your thumb, make yourself bleed, and wear it as makeup.
Yeah, I mean, there's the people who there's people who are suckered into drinking the Kool-Aid, and then there's people who are like, "Ooh, Kool-Aid." Ocho got excited for the Kool-Aid.
Bless her.
In our galaxy, Ocho was up to some stuff on the 6th of January. Ocho does not
funny
pass
because
the
it's
check.
true. It's funny because it's true. No, this one's easily top 3. Actually, I say that I keep looking back at the episodes, going, "Is it?" But is it?
I think my top 3 are the Ninth Jedi, the Elder, and the Duel. but top 5, La Pinocho is in.
I don't know. They're all just so good.
They're all just perfect. Like it's just so great. Like they all do exactly what they're seeking to do, and do it well.
Right. Moving on to episode 9, which is Akakiri by Science Saru. This one, I like this one. I think it's very mid out of everything. I liked what it did and what it went for. Very typical, like Anakin story, like going to the dark side because he has to save someone. Like, very typical, but
Yeah, this is another one that I really liked. I like that again. Like Star Wars is a franchise and story that has gone on for so long and has so much expanded material that it has its own like franchise exclusive tropes. And and granted, like, you know, I'm not trying to pull the Star Wars theory here and forget that the concept of the tragedy exists beyond Star Wars, but the specific flavor that is the uh, Jedi who basically accidentally has like a self-fulfilling prophecy going on where they turn to the dark side in the name of protecting a loved one is like I love my fallen Jedi so much. So
I say I like the trope. I love how they did it. But I think the fact that it is just that typical, you know, we kind of been here, done this in a different way, let it down a bit for me. The music in this is fantastic, and how they play with sound and just how it all plays out at the end is I loved it. It's gorgeous. But yes, I don't. I kind of go back and forth. Now I love it. I feel a bit mid on it, and I'm just like, I love the old guys in it with the whole like walking up the God Road or whatever it was called.
oh yeah, that was interesting.
Then they lose one. It's just like, oh no.
Pardon me. I like very loudly, obnoxiously yawned, but that was an accident. I like me being very sleepy caught up with me all at once. I was like, oh boy.
I would take that as a sign and be offended later on. But for right
Okay,
now, you'll hear about this later.
I'm sure I will. Every time anytime I'm on anybody else's show, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get in a very upset DM from somebody, and I'm gonna deserve it. I always assume I did some shit all the time.
I mean, at least you're consistent.
At least, yeah.
If you've got to take a positive away from it, you're consistent.
You know what? You're right.
Nah, it's all good. Yeah, it's. I personally don't think this should have been the one they ended it on.
No.
But
It should have ended on La Pinocho.
yeah,
They should have flip-flopped this in La Pinocho.
Yeah. I think Lop and Ocho was a bit more. I don't know. It's not even that it's more upbeat. I just think it's a better ending.
Yeah. It's just really hard for like the 9-episode stretch to end on, oh, he's fallen to the dark side. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even that it's like, it's not that it's a downer. It's that it's a downer cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, what's he going to do now that he's devoted himself to the dark? Hey, good night. Go watch the special features.
He's gonna put his hood up and walk out. I still haven't seen the special features actually, and I'm annoyed at myself because I made a point of literally watching this entire like all in one go, watching the sub, and then I was like, special features, I'll get to that. Never did.
I am guilty of the same exact thing.
Oh, thank God. I'm not the only one. I might do that tonight actually if I get time.
You are not alone. Anyway.
No, I definitely agree. I think even though Lop and Ocho does end on a downer, it's got that hopeful note.
Yeah, it ends on the type of downer that Star Wars is great at, of like things look really bad, but we got this.
Yeah.
You know, like most Star Wars stories that end on a low note end on that, like, on a bittersweet low note. Like, it's very rare. I can, like, off the top of my head, I can't think of any Star Wars stories that end in like abject dread. Even the stories that don't have like a happy ending per se end with some level of, we're gonna get out of this and we're gonna get to the other side of this.
Because even the prequels, you have like, hey, the twins are here. Like, you know what they're gonna be.
Yeah, the prequels end with Obi-Wan. Yeah, like of him leaving Luke with the Larses. You know, you know, Empire ends with them like, we're gonna find Han, we're gonna make it work.
It's like, we're back
you
together again. Yeah.
The Last Jedi has the, like, you know, we have everything we need right here.
Yeah.
You know, like they all have like a, like, if the ending itself isn't happy, there's a moment that's like, it's gonna be okay. This one is just straight up dread.
Yeah. Poor girl. I didn't catch it the first time though, when he actually does kill her, that you see her just stumbling around.
Yeah.
And, like, watching it back the second time, just like, oh, you do see her stumble. So I think I literally looked away, like looked down at my phone, because I'm that person. It's like, cool, I'm watching something. Oh, what's on Facebook? Oh, right, shit, I missed something. Right. Annoyingly, that is me. And then watching it again, I'm like, I'm gonna glue myself to this. So that was a nice touch. I like that. It's like the Spot the Bear, the dancing bear in the crowd of dancers and all that stuff. I love that sort of thing. Obviously, there was only like 3 other guards and then her just stumbling, but it's not exactly a massive revelation. But nice.
Well, that, and you can see like the Sith baddie, like with their arm extended out, like moving her with the Force.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it was a decent episode. I did enjoy it.
It was a good one.
It was just purely, it's just like, oh, you should have ended on Lop. Lop was so good.
I agree.
Such a good ending. All right, this entire time I've been trying to think what my top 3 would be, and I really don't think I can do it. Every time I'm like, right, I got one. It's like, no, but I like that one. I'm just gonna go top 4. I'm gonna have my cake and eat it. So the twins, the Village Bride, the Ninth Jedi, and Lopinocho. I think hands down. I can't give anything else. Top 4.
Yeah, like I said, for me it is Jedi Elder the Duel. With Lopinocho and the Village Bride not far behind.
I say it's one of those where it's like, you can't fault anyone for having a certain order in it, because they're all so good.
Yeah.
Now, are some better than others for me? Yeah. I can't fault anyone for like having TOB1 at the top, because I love that episode.
Or there are some people who have TOB1 towards the bottom.
And those people deserve everything that's coming to them. There are exceptions to the rules, and having TOB1 at the bottom is one of them.
Okay, you know what? You're committed, and I respect it.
I'm always that person that will just drag the joke on to the point where it stops being funny, but in hopes it comes back around to be even funnier.
Don't worry, same. I literally, recording the Versus series this month, Spencer and I kept making Venom jokes. And then just at the end of the episode, started very loudly playing the song, but like forgot how long it takes for Eminem to start doing the Venom. And I looked at Spencer, where we're both just like, this is taking way longer than I remember it. Like, but we're gonna wait. Only way out is through. You gotta see it. Yeah.
Gotta commit to the bit. All right.
TikTok gaslit me into thinking I like that song.
Oh. Isn't that just TikTok a bunch of gaslight?
No, typically not. It's just that a lot of people did a bunch of cool edits using that stupid freaking song, and it just got to the point where I was like, I guess I like Eminem's Venom.
I guess maybe.
And it was like, well, I kind of like it now because now I associate it with like cooler things that aren't even in this medium. But whatever.
Well, that's unfortunate. But back to Visions. I think.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. I just needed to wrap it up a little bit. For me, I think this is what Star Wars needed.
Oh yeah.
100% it needed a new set of eyes on it and a different. Obviously, this isn't going to carry on like the anime style of it. I'm absolutely certain you're going to get different countries doing different mediums for Star Wars, and that's going to be what Visions is going forward.
Yeah.
So like season 2, you get like a Brazilian take in it or something like that, or some other well-known, like maybe a Korean. Maybe it's a bit too close to Japanese, but you get like a Korean take on it or something like that. That's at least what I'm hoping for. Also, do this with Marvel.
You know, I will say, speaking of Marvel and knowing what else we're going to be recording today, I've seen a lot of people say it. Star Wars needs a what if. Like, as much as I love Visions, Visions is not a what if for Star Wars.
No, but that's an interesting point because Marvel needs a Vision and Star Wars needs a what if. They both done what the other one needs, and I feel like Visions did a
absolutely.
far better job than what if, but that's neither here nor there really. Yeah.
I don't think these are one of the situations where I don't think you can compare them. You know,
No,
like
I don't think you can either, but I definitely enjoyed one more than the other.
understandable. I get that. Um, but I mean, there was stuff in Visions I loved. There's stuff in What If I loved. I don't know which one I liked more. It was weird having like two big animated projects happening at the same time. But
Yeah, but it was nice
yeah,
to
no,
see. It was
Visions
nice
kick
to have.
ass.
It was nice to have two
Nice
from the big two at the same time. It just changed the pace and like mixed it up a little bit. I like
I
that.
agree.
But to bring this to an end, that was the Star Wars Vision Spoilercast. So thanks everyone for joining, and hopefully there's a season 2 with some other cultural studios and animations being put into Star Wars. Because after all, Star Wars was heavily taken from Japan, so.
Oh yeah. Anybody who said or even thought the phrase "it's too Japanese," you don't know a goddamn thing you're talking about.
No. That
Stop.
makes me
Like
laugh every time.
you need to have your opinion card revoked.
100%. So yeah, thank you for joining for this one, Jared. It is greatly appreciated.
My pleasure as
And
always.
go check him out over at the Nerd Academy. Or Nerd Academy podcast, say the full name properly. And we'll catch you all next time. So bye bye.